Hello, good morning, Heather and Kathleen and Jackie on YouTube. Got some people. I am live on Facebook this morning and on YouTube, so just giving you a few seconds to find me. So my name is Nancy Rebecca. My website's intuitivemind.org, where you can tap in and tune in and sign in to get your intuitive style questionnaire to find out how you perceive intuition and life. So, yep, that's what I teach. All about the energetics, all about frequency. And this morning, I'm talking about United We Stand, a spiritual perspective. So, I always promise you I'm going to give you that spiritual perspective because that's how I see the world with my clairvoyance. I see it through the filter, the lens of energy fields. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So wonderful. Good morning from the farm in Alberta. Yes, first actual day of summer 2023. Wasn't that an amazing equinox that we had? Solstice that we had. We definitely had our event. Intuitive Mind had their kind of group reading event over the weekend, which we also had a new moon. For anyone who can see that new moon, it's pretty fantastic. It's really fun to see the light come in as it gets lighter and brighter. For us here in the Pacific Northwest, especially here in Tacoma, Washington, we tend to get a lot of rain. And so for us, we get super excited when we can actually see the night sky. So it's always the little things, isn't it, that we can appreciate that others who maybe constantly have clear, starry nights may take for granted. So just think of me up here in Tacoma and say, oh, I wish Nancy could see the sky. So we're going to be talking about that unity consciousness that really has been talked about for years now. You know, united we stand, divided we fall. You know, we've all heard of that. But what does that mean from that spiritual perspective? So good morning, good morning, good morning. So while I'm here, I just want to remind you all that I am making a slight shift to where every week on Thursdays at 7 a.m. I will be live starting in July on YouTube only. So you simply need to go to my channel. It's called Intuitive Mind with Nancy Rebecca. You just click that subscribe button. And then if you just click on that little bell, it will just let you know every time I've uploaded a new video. However, for those who are on Facebook on the page Intuition with Precision, so I'm kind of shifting over to YouTube in the weekly live talks, but the monthly, I'm going to be teaching a little 1-hour mini class starting this June 30th. And the only place that I'm going to be showing that is on Intuition with Precision, which is my private members page. Okay, so I'll repeat that a few times over the next couple of months because I know it can be hard to track everything that's going on, and especially with us because we're always moving with the energy. And it's been over 3 years that I've been doing this every single week on Facebook. So it's a slight shift, but it's not going away. All right, good morning from BC. Good morning, Mary from Sacramento. Happy solstice to you too. Okay, let's get started. So, how many of you have pets? If you have a pet, just go ahead and put in the comments section. If you have a dog, a cat, a bird, a fish, an alligator. I used to have a neighbor that had an alligator when I was a kid. And they had cut a hole through the first floor and made a ramp down into the basement where there was a gigantic swimming pool for this alligator. And so, you know, you can imagine as a kid, that was pretty delightful. All right. So spiritually, United We Stand is telling us we can no longer go it alone. Meaning You are attempting to create a new world order out of the ashes of your old ways of structures and beliefs. And it can almost feel debilitating as you're trying to do this. So I know a lot of you who are tuning in and tapping in on these Thursday mornings, you're already doing your work. But remember, we have a lot of new people that Spirit has kind of guided them here and feeling kind of lonely. And that's what Spirit does. Spirit gets you to those places in the community where you can feel more supported. So we often laugh when Spirit will get someone to one of our classes, get them to the door, but the the mental human aspect of themselves maybe won't let that spirit walk through the door. So I'm glad, welcome that you all are here today. So just to on my question about animals, we have some people, 3 dogs, 1 fish, 1 turtle. Oh, I've always wanted a turtle. Oh, your little dog just passed. I'm so sorry to hear that. Roxanne, only my husband. Okay, Doberman, biggest baby in the world. Coco and Lily for Jennifer. So the grand dog sitting, Labradoodle. So this morning, so I've got this little white Bichon Shih Tzu mix. He's about 14 years old. And I'm telling you, at 5 this morning, he was ready to go and he wanted the whole household up. That's why I'm asking. And just before I was coming on live, he decided he wanted to go for a walk and he was not going to give up barking at the door. And I thought, I don't have time. So anyway, just want to let you, just was curious who had animals. Okay, so your imagination alone can create all kinds of stories of loss, depression, anxiety, and destructive thoughts. Now, when I say your imagination alone can create all kinds of stories, in some ways that can feel or sense like you have some ability to make it happen or not make it happen. But what Spirit explains to me is that we are of a unity consciousness. We are a frequency. And we are a frequency, different levels of frequency that influence us in every situation in life. And the way that Spirit's been trying to explain to me this past month is that for us to be able to kind of dismantle or dissolve or vaporize these different energy blocks at the different frequencies, then at that human imagination level, we kind of, everything's in a container for us to work through. So yes, if you are feeling anxious or depressed, that's that intuitive container that's created that really pushes things to the surface to let you know, signal you, you're having a hard day. There's something here that you need to see, hear, know, or feel. If you're having anxiety, again, that's Spirit's way of kind of ringing that bell saying, there's something here that you need to see, know, hear, or feel. If you're feeling depressed, it's the same thing. It's that little bell inside of your physical body. Your Spirit's helping to ring that bell to be able to, say, hey, there's this depression going on. What is it that you're not seeing, hearing, feeling, or knowing? And so this is what we talk about here on these Thursdays, is these different perspectives of kind of looking at your human energy field and how does it signal you, about whatever it is that you need to hear. So in this unity consciousness, there's this sense that you're the only one that's feeling anxious or depressed. It can feel quite lonely. It can feel quite detached. But in actuality, you're always connected to that unified force of energy. When you are in community with others, you get that reflection back to you about helps of with others help mirror that hope, inspiration, and enthusiasm for life. I was just a kind of debate. I've got something that I'm debating in my life. having to make a decision about. And definitely I can go into meditation and get that deeper information, but it's something that really pertains to the 3D world. So I put it out to the universe that I wanted the answers to come back through people, through that source of the human condition. I wanted answers to come from them. And it was pretty amazing. Yesterday, I was talking to 3 different people randomly as I was out in my yard, had these conversations. They all reflected different aspects of that answer for me. So those are the things that can help in that unity consciousness to help provide wisdom for you to make decisions. So again, it's not just going it alone. Okay, so it's time now that we embrace unity consciousness in our ever evolving and awakening world. In these times, the old structures, as they're crumbling, we realize the power of coming together. So that's what I'm just talking about now. When we often, and what I have been talking a lot about is the galactic core, the great attractor. We're talking about what I've been talking about over the past 4 to 6 weeks is that we may not often realize we have a universal connection to the planets, that we can have Saturn and Neptune and Venus and Mars, and we all know about Mercury, but there's all these planets, Jupiter, the moon, the sun, the earth, that is influencing your consciousness, that there's a sense of aliveness kind of, out there somewhere. But I remember when I was meditating with the great attractor, the pull, what the great attractor is known for is this grounded kind of gravitational pull. As I was meditating with it, I was pulled more inside of me. I wasn't pulled out there to some galaxy, some black hole. I was pulled inside here. And so what that reminder of as above, so below, as below, so above, that whatever is going on out there, we are connected strongly as well on the inside. So you'll have individuals. I've been working with human energy fields for over 25 years now. You will have, I always remember a dear friend of mine in Kathmandu, Nepal, was talking about that spiritual journey is like that spiral, right? It's like the spiral. And that we start at the outer edge of the spiral, and then we slowly, our journey throughout our life, it just goes closer and closer to where we're referencing who we are inside of ourselves, not who we are outside of ourselves. So that's the active journey that we're actually going through right now. So when I'm talking about that spiritual perspective of united we stand, we are always stronger. You will often hear me say this, we are always stronger than we ever have been apart. But we've been going through a phase in the past several years that has really divided us in a big way. And if you don't quite understand that division, you can just look at the United States political system that's just right on the world stage right now, and you can see how we are extremely divided in that kind of political way. But you may have also heard me say that in the face of adversity, in the face of a crisis, it's like nobody cares what your political views are, that we are at the levels where it really counts. We come together in that support of each other. We don't say, well, the building's on fire, I'm not going to save you because you are affiliated with this type of political party or not. It's just, you just run in and you just help get the people out of the burning building. And so this is what I'm kind of talking about today, these other levels where we are very united and that we're where we are not divided. But I'm going to talk a little bit about that division and what causes that division from a frequency perspective. So Warrior Girl's asking if the great central sun is the same as the great attractor. No, it's not. The great attractor is kind of often known as this kind of big, we'll say a big black hole that has so much gravity that it pulls stars and planets through it and it shoots out the other side. We don't know where it goes on the other side, but it's almost like it's that gravitational pull is slowly pulling planets, to include Earth, towards it. There's a lot of information out there. Not a lot, like through the NASA website, you can find some scientific perspectives, but I just bet, Warrior Girl, we're going to be hearing a lot more about it from the spiritual perspective over the next several years. So when we are connected together, just like we had our group reading, if you're meditating on your own, and let's say you are sitting with and reflecting with intense anxiety around insecurities, you feel shy, you're not able to kind of walk up and just strike up a conversation with someone, you're not comfortable in groups. So let's say that you are working on that issue, that perspective. When you're kind of chipping away in meditation, it can seem quite daunting. It can seem bigger than life. And then you've got to take that after meditation, you try to go back out and kind of push yourself back into a group to feel more comfortable. In the group reading that we do with my student groups, as well as in the group reading, the solstice that we just had, the premise is that you're going to decide that you want to register for that and you're going to participate. And we had over 160 participants this time. And let's say you come together and this whole group comes with you, and now 160 of you are going to work on the issue of insecurity. So there's a depth that's like you can work on the surface of insecurity, but it can be challenging to get deep, deep in the roots of insecurity, especially when you're trying to resolve and turn over old pain that can get you really triggered. So when you're in a group of 160, you're going to shift a little bit of that insecurity, and the other 159 of that unity consciousness, that unity together standing, it's like everybody's going to shift the insecurity, which helps you move a bigger piece. Let's say that somebody else in the group has a lot of doubt, self-doubt, or criticism or self-judgment or self-loathing. That's huge on the planet right now, where people don't love themselves very much. So it makes it challenging to love others or to feel lovable. So let's say someone else comes in the group to work on that, then you're going to help them shift that piece. So it's huge coming together to do unity work. It's like, why would you not do it if you can get that boost that you need? So I share this story because one of the things that so intuitive mind is the name that we have worked through in our educational teaching for over 20 years. 5 years ago, we created Soul Siege, which is our nonprofit arm of what we teach and meditation. So here I was leading a meditation of unhoused youth. And this particular day, there were 4 or 5 youth. I think there were 4 young men and a young woman. They're between the ages of 18 and 25. That's kind of within that building. That's the age group that they serve, that the city and county serves. So this one young man he comes quite often. As a matter of fact, he kind of finds it his light point throughout the week, but the rest of the time he lives on the streets. But he'll come to the community center, especially on those Thursdays, to go through meditation. So after the meditation, he comes back and he's describing his experience. He felt lighter, he felt better, more centered. But he said, I just want to thank you all for joining today, because often he might be the only one in the room. And he said, there's a piece of healing in my life that I've really been trying hard to get to, but it's challenging to do it all by myself. And he said, but because you all came and decided to meditate with me today, I was able to move a big piece around that. Now, here you have a young man who had also just been in the hospital because he was really struggling mentally. He lives on the streets. He's hasn't had a home for a long time. But can you imagine that level of consciousness? Can you imagine at your age calling all your friends saying, hey, I've been trying to get to this piece. I'm trying to healing myself and I would love that support. Can you all come? We'll sit in my living room, have a cup of tea and meditate together to help me go a little bit deeper. So that's basically kind of this unity consciousness that adds that strength to us all. And so in this talk, I hope that it really encourages you to go out of your way, go out of your comfort zone to place yourself, to stretch your boxes a little bit around your comfort with other people. Okay. So, unity consciousness, though, is not confined to meditation circles or spiritual practices alone. It is a state of being that calls upon each of us to recognize that you are a part of the interconnectedness of the web of life in all forms. This is encouraging you to extend a hand to your fellow human beings, to embrace diversity, to cultivate compassion within your own hearts. Excuse me. Just a second here. All right. How many of you have heard of mycelium? So mycelium is a microscopic web of fungus that is deep in the earth, and that microscopic web kind of comes together and it comes around the roots of trees. It comes through around the roots of plants, and it helps connect that entire communication web amongst large forest, and can even in some places connect us all the way around the world. And when you have, if you don't know what it is, if you've ever kind of pulled something out of the earth and there's those little white filaments that are kind of stuck to the tree or stuck to a plant, you pull it out and you can just see that all those white filaments. That's what mycelium is. A microscopic fungus that creates a system of communication. Then within that system of communication, you have what's called hub trees, HUB, hub trees, or otherwise known as mother trees. These trees, hub trees, are tapped into the mycelium in a way that can pick up the signals of suffering and struggling and hardship. So I found this interesting that not all the trees have that job, except for the hub trees do. So it's really thinking about this in terms of mothers in general, even those mothering qualities. Even if you don't have your own children, you've got that, you're always connected. You know if something's wrong or something's not wrong. But also healers are like those hub trees. And it can be challenging for those of you with a lot of sensitivity that can feel the struggles on a daily basis in the rest of the world. and you don't know how to help. So recently, there's been this massive search effort for the submarine that's under the water. But if we think even more in the global, there's that Ukraine that's really struggling and suffering. But Spirit is here to remind us that there are frequency ways that you can offer support, and really connect into those deeper communication frequencies that can still be supportive, grounding, and uplifting to anyone that's in the world, no matter what's going on. So this kind of mentality, I call it the "you've made your bed, now lie in it," or "you're on your own" mentality, literally energetically blocks the energy that slows down the entire web of support system. So remember I said we've kind of in the last several thousand years, we've kind of done this massive separation, and now we are starting to come together again. But when we, I'm going to say don't care, but it's more than that. We're exhausted. Humanity's exhausted. Humanity's so stressed out that those feelings of apathy, like I don't have the energy to care. That's a better way of putting it. We don't feel like we have the energy to care, is really creating more blocks to our ability to be supported by this kind of underground network, or this network all around us of that unity energy field. And we most certainly don't feel like we have the energy to contribute to it. Like an electrical plug, so that the toaster needs to plug into the wall to be able to brown a piece of bread. It's the same way with you. You need to plug into that electrical system, that vibrational frequency system, so that you can fulfill what it is that you need to do that day, whether it's go to work, or whether it's to clean the house, or whether it's to write your book, or take care of the kids, or go to the parent-teacher association meeting that night. You must be plugged in. And this is the meditation that we're going to do today. You need the electricity to do the task, so you must tap in. Illuminating your own frequency is really all that is needed. Your tone, your vibrancy, your spiritual desire to contribute to the support system as a whole. Often we think of shared unity consciousness as helping people with food, money, jobs, cooking meals, driving to appointments, giving words of encouragement. It can be much easier than that. And I am, with Soul Seeds, as we're trying to work with our communities in need, it's like, okay, how is meditation going to help me conceptualize this? It's not easy. I'm trying to help people conceptualize it all the time, but the best way to understand it is to experience it, and we're going to experience it here in just a moment. So the deeper the root system, the easier it is to tap into that support of the microscopic landscape. When we come together, whether it's in times of joy or hardship, we tap into the wellspring of the collective strength. Okay. So in the past, we'll say 6 weeks, we've been kind of connecting to the cosmos. And we're going to remain connected to the cosmos. That is, we are part of that frequency. We are part of the frequency of the planets and the stars and the galaxies and the meteors, the galactic core and the great attractor. Today, there is an equal part of sacred significance deep in the earth. And so today, the only thing we're going to do in this meditation is we are going to ground. I remember when someone asked my teacher, if you could go out into the world and only teach one spiritual technique, what would that be? And my own teacher said grounding. If you have really great grounding, you need nothing else. So this is what we're going to do today. We're going to tap root your grounding. Now, Spirit was showing me when I was meditating with this um, unity consciousness of grounding, Spirit was showing me that the shallower the roots, the more blockage, the more you are blocked or separated from the unity consciousness. The deeper and deeper and deeper you go, the more that you can feel the full unity consciousness. Now, when you're anxious or depressed, you're afraid, you're frustrated, you're angry, it's your grounding is more shallow. It is only at the surface. Your human body at the 3D level is firing all over the place. But as your spirit comes down in the body and you ground even deeper, we're going to connect to those deeper webs of communication. And then we're just going to send that out as well as tap into it. So let's go ahead and do that meditation now. Go ahead and close your eyes and turn within. Just give a quick hello to your human body that is made up of your spiritual energy. So your body, touch your body, is a part of your spirit that is at a denser frequency. Your body is not separate from your spirit. And then say hello to your spirit. Your higher self is that wise part of you that has so much spiritual experience, has so much, thousands of years of wisdom that when tapped into, when brought down into your human body, your own higher self can help illuminate all the choices available to you for every single decision that you choose to make. Ask your spirit to help you to have an experience today with your groundedness as you tap into the interconnectedness of the entire world. Ask your spirit to help you to have an experience to help you deeply understand it at a more conscious level. Nice. Now you're going to go ahead and you're going to create, or you're going to imagine, you're going to pretend it's an invisible force, but you're going to create an image around it to help you to work with it using your imagination. So remember, your spirit communicates to your body through imagination. So right now, imagine that you've got a very strong, potent, powerful kind of root system, grounding system. It's going to connect at the area of your hips. It might extend out into the aura. It's going to be about the navel area or a little further down. Basically, not from your feet. We want to go from the hips down. You can include your feet, but not just feet only. And now I want you to only ground shallow. So what I mean by shallow is allow that invisible grounding to go down 5 to 10 miles only. 5 to 10 miles into Mother Earth. But imagine just a shallow grounding. Now that the energy, the frequency of unity consciousness that connects us all through our humanness is all around you, but it can be challenging because there's a thick layer of old historical trauma in the earth that can block you from feeling that unified consciousness. So right now, just pretend and imagine that all of that kind of historical trauma in the earth around you is starting to dissolve. You can bring through a little bit of gold. You can imagine grounding it off to the center of the earth so it's pulled deeper, so it can dissolve and be recycled. If you imagine it's like that mycelium, you're just cleaning it off. It's there underneath that historical trauma. Let's just clear it off so it can function really well at the surface of the earth. So now go 100 miles deeper, 500 miles deeper, 1,000 miles deeper, 3,500 miles deeper to the center of the earth. And as you go deeper and deeper with your groundedness, also sense that connectedness, that frequency that unites us. Sense what you're feeling in your body as your grounding goes deeper and as that rich connection with each other is enhanced. We're going to take about a full minute of quiet as you are going deeper with your grounding, tapping into our interconnectedness with each other. The deeper you go with your imaginary root system, the more connected you can sense that fiber optic web deep in the earth. the more you feel connected to the whole, you feel connected to yourself. The less connected to the whole, the less connected you feel to the self. So just go deeper and deeper and notice how you're feeling in your aura above the earth and your body. So when Spirit talks about that being supportive to each other and being supported by our unity consciousness can be much easier than we think it is. So when there are wars in the world, people suffering and struggling, or maybe there's the natural disaster of hardships, you can just really tap into deeply into that fiber optic web of support. Bring more of your spirit in and just help supercharge that unity consciousness that's deep in the earth, and allow that connection to supercharge you whenever you need it. All right, whenever you're ready, thank Mother Earth, thank your body, thank your higher self. Open your eyes. And I just have to say that this time warpish, time shifting thing is super real. Like, I feel like I have talked to you all for 3 minutes, and we have been on this call for 43 minutes. I don't know what happened, but we went somewhere into the worldwide web of unity consciousness. So start little. Just start little. You're not being asked to go to a stadium of 10,000 people and feel unified with everyone, but just start little bits with your family, start little bits with your friends. Then just kind of, as you feel more comfortable with that, go to larger groups, but also spend time meditating, helping to clear that historical trauma that's stored in the earth, helping to contribute to that interconnectedness that we all share in our consciousness. So again, yes, we do have the whole world in our hands, and someone just wrote that they feel less alone. That's awesome. That's awesome. So just remember that starting in July, YouTube only, so you can go to Intuitive Mind with Nancy Rebecca, click the subscribe button, and I will be on there on Thursdays. And I've heard that YouTube's really good at messaging you about 30 minutes beforehand, making it easy to find us. and then the talk I will give, the color palette of your own aura, will be on our Intuition with Precision page on Facebook. Just go on Facebook, ask to join Intuition with Precision. And on June 30th, we'll give a class, and then we'll do little exercises throughout the month. So take care of everyone. Beautiful. Someone in capital letters, I really needed this support today. And before I pop off, I just want to mention Brenda Miller mentioned, let me see if I can find her, The Overstory by Richard Power, a powerful novel about the interconnectedness of trees and how it reflects in our humanity. All right, everyone, I could spend the whole day with you, but I've got another call at 8 o'clock. So I'll see you next Thursday. Have a fantastic weekend and week, and enjoy. We are still in the radiance of the solstice, so enjoy that frequency of connectedness through the light on the earth. All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.